Hello and welcome to a brand new episode of the podcast entitled Couch Potatoes Unite! This is a podcast based on a blog of the same name because whatever happened to predictability, am I right? Okay. I'm the blogger in question and the self-styled chief couch potato. My name is Kylie and I love TV. If you feel the same, keep listening and or checking out the blog at couchpotatoesunite.wordpress.com as you're bound to find some common ground or something you like. For Couch Potatoes Unite, we're all about the wonders and unique long-form storytelling of the small screen. CPU, ! Wishes you rest from the heat, whatever heat that might be, and hopes you've been following releases of brand new episodes of the podcast on Wednesdays, as well as new blog entries on some Tuesdays, and as always, we have several more new episodes on the way. Because the panelists and I live lives behind our podcast, the episodes are published once per week. Subscribe to the blog or the podcast via iTunes, Stitcher Radio, and via Google Play to stay on top of brand new episodes. Episodes already published discuss a variety of shows around the water cooler, including but not limited to Game of Thrones, Stranger Things, Grimm, and the Marvel's Netflix series, including Daredevil, Jessica Jones, Luke Cage, and Iron Fist. We've published several multi-part looking back to look forward series, including The X-Files from its inception through its revival, our American Horror Story series, and our Gilmore Girls Life series. Plus, a bevy of new episodes are in the works. It is summertime after all, including revisits for How to Get Away with Murder, Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt, New Girl, Marvel Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., Gotham, Supernatural, The 100, Once Upon a Time, Doctor Who, Orange is the New Black, The Originals, and the DCTU series panel covering Arrow, Flash, Legends of Tomorrow, and Supergirl with an episode for each show. A final visit with our Vampire Diaries panel to say goodbye to the long-running and ending series in two-part episode. A final visit with our Broadchurch panel to say goodbye to the mystery drama from across the pond. We'll be launching a new panel covering Lemony Snicket's Unfortunate Events, a new series anniversary retrospective about the Buffyverse covering Buffy the Vampire Slayer and Angel, and because we also look back at shows now past, we'll be looking back at Marvel's Agent Carter and Sense8, the latter in a two-part series because sadly it was just canceled. What's more, CPU from time to time goes live. We've appeared at Comedy Outlet Mondays at Dog Story Theater and at Grand Rapids Comic-Con in Grand Rapids, Michigan while streaming live on Facebook. More live appearances are being planned, so make sure you like us at our Facebook page, our Twitter, follow us at CPU Podcast, our Instagram at Couch Potatoes Unite, and or our Pinterest at CPU Podcast, or subscribe to the blog, our YouTube channel, our iTunes channel, our Stitcher Radio channel, or find us on Google Play. In the meantime, if you don't hear your show in this podcast format, fellow panelists and I still wrote reviews and we're always seeking new panelists, so if you have any interest in joining the discussion, say hello by finding us at any of those outlets I've mentioned. At the very least, stop by and leave us a thumbs up, comment, or review. We like feedback, but if it's too trollish, you'll have to cut it out. Today's panelists are continuing our CPU series, focusing upon a friendly family who, for generations, has lived in a full and fuller house, first on ABC and then on Netflix in a revival series event. If you're following the series, you know that I'm not here to moderate. Rather, frequent panelist Kristen takes the moderating mic once again to talk Season 2 of the revival series, Fuller House, along with returning panelists Andrew, Amie, Jenn, and Leslie. You might have heard Kristen's voice on at least most of our active panels. In fact, there's just way too many to list. So just check out our website, look for the list of all CPU panelists page, which will be brought up under the left dialog box floating in the header, the picture of the TV watcher. But for now, and without further ado, I'd like to welcome back Kristen to the moderating microphone. Take it away, Kristen!
Thanks, Kylie. Happy to be back and talking Season 2 of Fuller House. So today we've once again gathered around the iconic blue and white checked living room sofa to talk about Season 2 of Fuller House, a Netflix original series that premiered in its entirety on December 9th, 2016. Because this is a Netflix original, it is only legally available to watch on Netflix, like many of the other shows that we do cover. Fuller House is a continuation of the family-friendly favorite series Full House, which originally aired on ABC from 1987 to 1995. Set 21 years after the end of the series finale, Fuller House centers around DJ Tanner Fuller, played by Candace Cameron Bure, a veterinarian and widowed mother to three sons, Jackson, Max, and Tommy Jr., played by Michael Campion, Elias Harger, and Dashiell and Fox Mezet, respectively. The Tanner house is full once again as DJ's sister Stephanie, played by Jodie Sweetin, her best friend Kimmy Gibbler, played by Andrea Barber, as well as Kimmy's daughter Ramona and husband Fernando, played by Sunny Nicole Bringas and Juan Pablo de Pace, have all moved in to help raise the boys, along with frequent guest appearances from most of the original cast. In Season 2, DJ is still caught up in her love triangle between Steve Hale, Scott Winger, and Matt Harmon, John Brotherton. Stephanie is dating Kimmy's younger brother Jimmy, played by Adam Hagenbusch, and Kimmy is still trying to make things work with Fernando. The new generation of Fullers continues to navigate the hurdles of growing up, including relationships, first kisses, and school projects. Today we've brought back the Fuller House panel to discuss Season 2, and I know they are ready to get started. So, without further ado, let's get going. As always, it should be noted that all the panelists have viewed Season 2 of Fuller House in its entirety and will discuss sensitive plot points. So for those listeners who haven't watched Fuller House, listen at your own risk, as there will be major spoilers. Welcome back, Fuller House panel.
Thank you.
Hi. You ready to talk Season 2?
So ready.
All right, so you guys know the drill. First, I'm going to ask you to introduce yourselves by first name only, and then I'm going to ask you to rate your interest in the show. But some of the descriptions have changed since Season 1, as our characters have changed a little bit. Are you watching Fuller House because you absolutely love it, you've always wanted to be a part of the Tanner family, and now you practically are, like Kimmy? You still love the original, but this version is almost as good, so you'll stick with it for now, like Steve. You were doubtful there for a minute, but it's back and better than ever, like Max and his doggy daddy skills for Cosmo. You're happy with how things are going, you can see a bright future ahead of you and the show, like Stephanie. It's having trouble making up its mind, or finding its footing, but you hope it's finally found a direction that it will stick with, like DJ. Growing up, this show may have had some rough spots along the way, but just like your new family, this show will always be there to help you through it, like Ramona. Or sometimes it's trying too hard to be something it's not, and it should just be happy with what it is, like Jackson. Or are you just here for the cameos, like Danny, Jesse, Joey, and Becky? Or, and I don't expect any of you to pick this, but it's out there anyway, you didn't watch it, because you're off in New York, still running your fashion empire with no return engagements planned, like Michelle, or you're not old enough to watch TV, like Tommy Jr. Who wants to go first?
I'm Amie.
Hi, Amie.
I'm excited to be back.
Welcome back.
Thank you. So I actually think I thought I was a couple, but I think I'm Steve. I love the original, and this version is almost as good, and I'm going to stick with it. So yeah, I think I'm squarely Steve.
All right.
Yeah.
Amie is Steve.
Hi, I'm Leslie.
Hi, Leslie.
Hi, good to be back. I gotta agree with Amie, I think. I think I'm a Steve, too. I really like the original, and this one's about as good, and I'll stick with. So, yeah, I think I'm a Steve, too.
All right, great. Welcome back, Leslie.
Hi, I'm Andrew. I am saying I'm a little bit of 3 through 8, so I'm gonna go with
Can you limit it to like 3?
Stephanie. Stop it, Stephanie. Yeah, I'm happy with how things are going, and I do see a bright future ahead. I mean, if you pay attention to its ratings, it will live a long life. And it is a vast improvement from Season 1, so yes, I'm a Stephanie. But I do say little bits of 3 through 8.
All right.
I'm Jen.
Hi, Jen.
Hi. For me, I would say I'm mostly Stephanie. Just seeing how the show has improved quite a bit from season 1. But I would also say I'm a little bit of Ramona too, just because for the type of show it is, there really isn't anything quite like it that's out there right now. And I like how it has that little setting in Netflix right now, but I really don't want there to be other shows like it. I just kind of want it to stay where it is, even with all its little quirks.
Great, thanks. Welcome back, Jen. And as I said in the beginning, my name is Kristen, and true to form, I'm a combo of 2. I was doubtful there for a minute, like Max. We had a nice discussion about Season 1, and there was a lot of things we weren't happy with, so I was unsure of what Season 2 was going to bring forth, I guess. But I'm also Stephanie. I'm kind of happy with how things are going so far. I think Season 2 is a vast improvement, and I think, like Andrew said, it's going to be around for a while. All right, so let's get to it. Did you guys like Season 2 better than Season 1?
Oh, yes,
definitely.
And I think it's finding its own identity instead of being just kind of. Well, I mean, I just thought it was an improvement, and you're going to get to this, but they did address, for me, my concerns from Season 1.
Yeah, because your concerns, you wanted more character development.
Yes.
Do you think that happened?
I do think that happened, because I think that the characters, both the veteran actors as well as the young actors, found their own, like I said, it became its own thing, and they kind of found who those characters are as adults and who those characters are as the Fuller kids. And I just think it was less introducing them like season 1 and more getting comfortable with their characters and performing them and having layers and arcs.
And Jen, what about you? Did you like season 2 better than season 1?
I did. Looking over your questions, I saw the note that I had from last time about Stephanie wanting to start a family through adoption and hoping that if Michelle were to come back, like her friends would come back too. Sadly, that has not happened yet. However, I was pleasantly surprised when they actually brought the adoption story into place. Not necessarily through Stephanie, but through Jesse and Rebecca with them adopting a daughter.
And Stephanie and Jimmy kind of had a little conversation.
Yeah.
Too. So it seems like one of your concerns was kind of addressed, so maybe a little more development coming forth in season 3.
Yeah, still hoping for a return of Michelle's friends. We'll see what happens. Hold strong for Michelle Tanner.
I absolutely like season 2 better than season 1.
All right.
I'd say all my main concerns they fixed. There's still a bunch of eye-rolly moments.
Yeah, but not so many.
Right, and I was able to enjoy it, sometimes more if I had a couple cocktails.
Yeah.
But where the first one was kind of, I watched it because I felt like I had to. Or I finished it because I felt like I had to. I actually enjoyed watching this one, and it brought me back more to watching it as a kid, just in the fact that it was Full House as opposed to a reunion that was a 13 episode, like skit. And I did get one of my hopes came true.
Gia to come back.
Gia did come back, along with the entire band. Sort of, maybe.
Sort of, yeah.
Sort of.
Yeah.
And Viper came back.
Yeah.
And Nelson. So
there was other cameos.
Yeah.
Awesome.
No Michelle.
Yeah. No Michelle, but that's not going to happen.
Yeah. They tried to get their sister. I thought that was funny.
Yeah.
And of course, she's like an Oscar-nominated actress.
Yeah, she's like, I'm good, guys.
Right.
So, and Leslie, what about you? Did you...
Oh, I loved it. I think, for me, what I loved the most was just kind of what Amie was saying was the development. I really liked how they kind of shifted the focus from season 1, where they were focusing more on like, oh, look at all these old characters that you left back, and now I feel like in season 2 they were focusing more on this new group of kids, these new situations that they get into, and this new family that they're creating, and I just loved it. I thought it was great how they kind of shifted that, and all of the different plot points that are resolved and things that happen.
because you kind of got what you wanted too.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So and Leslie, just for my listeners, she wanted a love interest for Stephanie, and she wanted DJ's love triangle resolved, which kind of happened.
Kind of.
We'll get into that in a little bit. Yeah. And for me, I was much happier with season 2 overall, and because my biggest thing was all the fan service in season 1. That was a big hurdle that I had to get over, and I felt like they only had the one moment at the Thanksgiving table where Uncle Jesse kind of leaned back and invited Michelle. Come on, it'll be fun. That was the one moment they could have cut, and I would have been perfectly happy with the season. But but I think less fan service, like you guys had said, they've done the reunion. Now we're gonna get into telling this new story. And so, along with the new story, we also have some new characters that were introduced this year. We have Jimmy Gibbler. We have CJ, who's Steve's new girlfriend, who's like DJ, but a different DJ. We have Crystal, who is Matt's new girlfriend. And we have Joey's wife and kids, played by a Broadway favorite, Laura Bell Bundy, which was super fun. So what did you guys think of some of the new characters this year?
Well, I think for me, I really loved the whole Jimmy Gibbler thing, because you kind of didn't see that coming. At least for me. I think it's really cute to watch him and Stephanie, because I feel like in season 1, she's kind of like all over the place, and she's like this globetrotter DJ, kind of going around the world, and doesn't really settle down and have roots, and I feel like she's kind of growing up a bit and kind of finding herself and kind of settling down, and I thought their relationship was really cute, and I really like that she writes a song for him and all that stuff. I thought it was really cute.
I thought that they were entertaining, and
Yes.
maybe because I like Stephanie's one of my favorite characters anyway. But I feel like they just were entertaining. Like, I was always entertained by their particular scenes, and maybe that's my kind of humor or whatever. But they just made me so happy.
Yeah.
So.
Going off what you were saying about Stephanie, and in season 1, it felt like that they just did it. They wrote her so badly, and there was just nothing, she was like, what was she in the British accent? It was just, she was a joke. And then they actually gave her a character in season 2.
Yeah. Gave her some development.
Yeah, and they just, like, it felt like she was the joke of season 1.
Yeah.
And with the main, I don't know. Did Jimmy Gibbler remind anyone else of Ashton Kutcher?
Yes!
Yes!
The whole time.
I think that's
100%.
unanimous. We were all in agreement around this couch.
Yeah.
They were funny, comic relief. I enjoyed them, that relationship.
Yeah.
I did not enjoy Joey's family. I enjoyed, like, the stars, but, like, the kids, like...
They were annoying.
Yeah, I was disappointed that they would have... That's where Joey's kind of journey... Yeah, I could have done without them. I love Joey. I love that character. It could have been just him and the wife being over the top, but then you have those obnoxious children.
Yeah.
But I didn't personally care for it. It just wasn't my cup of tea.
So, weird quick question. What is it with the Fuller family having 3 kids? There's the 3 girls in the original, DJ, Stephanie, Michelle. She has 3 boys. Joey has 3 kids. Now Uncle Jesse and Rebecca have 3 kids.
Yeah.
Wait, I thought Joey's family had 4 kids.
I thought they had 4 kids. Yeah, they have 4 kids.
Okay, maybe
I was kind of thinking, maybe I'm wrong.
Maybe I'm wrong, yeah. But it's
Sorry to break your thought there.
No, I'm just like, what is it with this family and how he's having 3, or in this case, 4
Well,
kids?
it was originally created because of the popularity of 3 men and a baby.
Yeah,
So
that makes sense.
the number
That
3.
could make sense.
That movie was
That's so
popular,
funny.
so that's why they made the series.
That's interesting. So
That's
they're kind of
true.
still carrying it
I
on.
remember hearing about that.
Going back to the crazy Joey kids, did they not remind you of kind of like this season's Rebecca's cousins? Or was it her brother and their annoying blonde
Yes,
girl?
Oh my gosh,
in the original series.
I don't remember that, but that's probably if I remember that, I would have been like, oh, that's what they're doing.
So part of me was like, did he like marry like her nieces?
Yeah.
Any other talk about the new characters that were added?
I enjoy almost all of the new characters except for the kids, because I feel like they had a purpose, like the girlfriends and things like that. The younger girlfriend versus the girlfriend, versus DJ or
because it showed that the guys didn't wait around for her at the
which they shouldn't have. I think I'm glad that they moved on for a brief time. And I think the CJ character is so fascinating. I feel like I'm glad that they did kind of a cliffhanger thing, and she didn't automatically end up with the person she chose because they moved on. So,
spoiler: she chose Steve.
Yes, she chose Steve, but chose him too late.
Yeah, she chose him
as far as we know. We don't know what season 3 is gonna do.
Yeah.
So I think I enjoyed all of them except for the kids, because I feel like they all help move the story forward.
Yeah, I agree. For sure.
What other characters were
We
there?
had Jimmy, CJ, Rose, who is CJ's daughter, and she became a love interest for Max.
Right.
And we have Crystal, who was Matt's girlfriend, and we already talked about Ginger, who was Joey's wife.
What about Jackson's friend Popco?
He was in season 1.
Oh, he was?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that I don't remember.
So, in addition to the new characters that we got this year, we also had a lot more guest appearances from the original series. We had Viper come back. We had a new Nelson Burkhead, but he was a new because it was Hal Sparks. Jason Marsden originated him in the original series back in the day, but he couldn't return due to other commitments. Then we had Dwayne come back, who was Kimmy's boyfriend in high school. We also had their former friend / nemesis, Kathy Santoni, and we had Gia come back for the Girl Talk episode, but most of the cameo characters came back because they did a high school reunion episode.
Yeah.
So what did you guys think? Was it fun seeing returning characters outside of the main family? Do you want more of that? What's your thoughts?
It was just enough. It gave the original fans the nostalgia, but it didn't take over. You know, they had their cameos, and that's what they were.
Yeah.
So I liked it how it was, and I could take more if it doesn't take over.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I think if you do the cameo thing too much, it can get kind of hokey and it just loses that, I don't know.
The specialness?
The specialness, yeah. So I think I totally agree. I think they did it just enough to where it satisfied the fans, but not too much where you get sick of them.
Well, and I will always, and I'll keep saying this, as long as it serves a purpose, and they were at a class reunion, so I do expect to see some of those older characters, whoever can come back and whoever they decide to write in. Because, you know...
Yeah, Viper just randomly showing up.
Right? I thought that was funny. But if they're just throwing them in randomly for fan service, like you said, then it's kind of like, okay, whatever. But I thought it was fun to see them, absolutely. And it's interesting to see, because you kind of get curious about, you see the original actors like 20 years later. Why not see a couple of the others just to see where they are, what they look like, how they act, you know? I don't know, I get curious about that stuff.
Yeah, I agree. I was thinking that too, because they came in and I was like, oh, that's how he turned out to look. That's cool.
They could always bring back Michelle's friends, even if she doesn't come back.
I know, they that's how
they could still live in San Francisco. Those houses are worth so much money now. They could be
right?
like just millionaires renting them out, Airbnb.
There you go.
Yeah, there you go.
There you go.
Yeah. But I agree, it seems like the high school reunion episode was a very organic way to get us a few more cameos, and it did help the story move forward, so it wasn't just placing it because we want to do it. It did serve a purpose with DJ and Steve's relationship.
Without committing them to continually bring them back.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've kind of talked about, some things so far, but let's get into the big moments of Season 2. The big plot points. What were some of your favorite moments? What stands out to you?
Max, when he had to do that school project.
And when DJ, Helicopter Mom, kind of takes over, which is pretty common, I think, these days. It was a nice little commentary where parents tend to do the projects for the kids.
But I just thought that was a funny episode, and he's the star of the show.
Yeah.
He's got a lot better,
Yeah, I thought that was adorable. I thought that was really cute.
Did they have the Halloween episode in this season?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This was like the holiday episode season. Yeah.
Okay. I didn't want to blend the other. It's been a while, but this is why I love the Jimmy, Stephanie, like that moment where they're trying to teach Jackson and Ramona a lesson. Was Jackson and Ramona?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, in the haunted house.
Yeah, where Jimmy and Stephanie got little jobs as zombies to jump out and scare people.
Yeah, and that just felt, I don't know, it that stuck out to me because I thought it was really funny. I agree with the episode, the school project episode. I thought that was really funny, but I also thought it was a good commentary of currently, I feel like that's a very contemporary, not issue, there's always been helicopter parents, but it's something that they can address in sitcoms now that they probably didn't back in the 80s and 90s.
And kind of on that same topic, too, another episode dealt with the fact that Ramona became the subject of a viral video that made her look really bad.
Yeah.
And Jackson ended up coming to her aid.
Yeah.
I think it was Paco, actually, that put it up because she rejected him. And, moving, or kind of elaborating on what Amie had said, it's the very same thing where that's a subject that wasn't around during the original run of the series. The internet wasn't really around that much, and now social media has just exploded. And so they're really starting to address the modern issues in this family-friendly way that they've continued to do.
And even with it, too, they kind of brought it back to the old series, too, going back to when Gia was guest starring in the episode Girl Talk, where she vaping.
Yeah.
And Stephanie was actually tempted to start smoking again.
Because in the original series, it was the same thing. Gia was smoking, and she was trying to convince Stephanie, and this is just the more modern-day version of that.
The soccer mom version of it.
Yep, exactly.
Yep. New Kids on the Block.
Yeah.
Totally. That was so cool.
So that's all I'm going to say about that. I mean, the episode was just okay, but New Kids on the Block was
Yeah, because
great.
that was DJ's 39th birthday. They all went to New Kids on the Block. They they got a limo. Or
I thought, I have to say,
They
that
snuck
episode
into
with
it.
New Kids on the Block, when she is, like, out of it and she's just acting all crazy, I laughed so hard. I thought it was hilarious.
they got up on stage and danced, and
Yeah, I thought it was hilarious, and
Yeah.
it just...
well, like they
Made me
said in
smile.
one of the interviews that New Kids on the Block is to Fuller House what the Beach Boys
Right.
was to Full
That's
House.
exactly what I was going to say,
Yes.
and that's absolutely true. It's so in the style of the Full House, world.
Yeah,
And
That
it-
whole
that was-
episode is
That was
Oh,
Little
totally.
Jesse's
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
big. He worshipped the Beach Boys.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
now it's the girls that are still all about New Kids on the Block.
And which I absolutely love because I'm the same age as those, a lot of us are the same age as those characters, so I would have had
Yeah.
the same responses. So it was fun to be
Yeah.
like, yeah, that's my generation. I'm so old.
So what did you feel about, we still had the unresolved love triangle. Matt broke up with Crystal to be with DJ. Steve is still with CJ, but he's kind of still in love with DJ. The guys, speaking of DJ's birthday, the guys try to one-up each other with their birthday presents for her. It's still trying to, show up the other one. So what did you guys think about that plot continuation?
It supposedly got resolved, and I kind of wanted to stay resolved.
Yeah.
Well, I think as a show, they need some sort of cliffhanger.
You need to have some sort of tension somewhere.
Yeah, I'm just wondering how long this back and forth can go before it gets stale.
Yeah.
I feel like if they resolve it, then they need a really good conflict to replace it, to keep people interested and curious. Not that this is like a hugely suspenseful show or anything
No.
like that, but it's still entertainment. So I think it's okay. I get torn sometimes with the relationship the two guys have, because they're so kind to each other and like they have each other's back in weird ways. So it just, that's where my conflict is, where it's like there may be this love triangle, but there's also this
Romance going on.
yeah, it's interesting, but I don't know. I just kind of want to see where it goes, but I don't invest too much into it because I don't know what to do with the bromance part of that.
Yeah, because so where things left off, DJ is dating Matt. He broke up with Crystal for her. They're together, but it's only because Steve is with CJ, and DJ not only helps Steve with the proposal, but then she ends up proposing to CJ for Steve because he lost his voice or he was super nervous. How do you guys feel about that? Was that weird and awkward to you? Was that comedically painful?
I didn't really appreciate it. I thought it was weird.
Yeah.
It makes me feel like DJ doesn't have a backbone to say, I'm not doing this. I care for you, but I'm not, and maybe that's just not who her character is. But I found DJ's character slightly less tolerable in season 2, which is okay. You don't have to like every character. But there's elements of that particular character that I'm like, come on. And that was one of those moments. But again, I also thought comedically painful, which is, I understand that.
I thought it was kind of weird. I was like, really? You're gonna do it that way? Okay. I don't know, it's just, part of me too is like, just get it over with already. Like, you're almost 40 years old, just make up your mind. This is teenage, adolescent stuff. You're too old for this. Like, move on.
Well, and considering she
Make a choice and move on.
she did it when she was a teenager,
Right.
Between Nelson and Viper,
Right, exactly.
They're still fighting over her, even though she already told them no.
Yeah,
Right.
21
That
years
part I thought-
later, they're still fighting over DJ.
Yeah, that part I thought was kind of nice way to phrase it, sad, blunt way to phrase it. Thought it was pathetic.
Yeah.
Yeah. So do you guys think that Steve and CJ are actually going to get married in season 3, or do you think
They probably will.
they're going to break up and he's going to be with DJ?
Oh.
Ooh.
I don't
So
know.
who's Steve going to choose next season? CJ the copy or DJ the original?
I hope he chooses CJ.
Why?
I don't know, because DJ and Steve kind of annoy me together. I agree with Amie how DJ's become like insufferable this season. She went from being probably my favorite character of the original series to my least favorite in the reboot. And I find her more tolerable with her relationship with Matt. I think I like their chemistry better together. So I personally would prefer to see them together. And their opposite which makes me, there's something more interesting there than DJ with Steve, which annoys me.
I feel like, and I agree with you in many ways, and I feel like it's because when you say chemistry, you have two characters as well as two actors, I'm going to say, who don't have an established history versus, the Steve DJ and those two actors who may not be able, maybe their chemistry isn't different than what it used to be, or it hasn't matured, or it hasn't done something to pique your interest as an adult audience now.
Right.
At least that's kind of how I feel. Now, I don't really care who she chooses because I need to start caring about her as a character again. I just thought she made some decisions that I just thought were a little like, okay, I'm going to focus on other characters now.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with Andrew. I think I really like Matt and DJ together better than Steve and DJ. I feel like that's been done, and that's kind of in the past. I'm kind of interested to see where they'll take that relationship and how they'll develop that. Yeah, I think she's good with Matt, I think. And I think they, like you said, Andrew, they have a good chemistry, and I think if they develop that more, that could be interesting.
I feel like if DJ and Steve were meant to be together, they would have been together at this point.
Absolutely. Yeah.
No, Rachel and Ross are they?
Yeah, no, there is no will they, won't they. No. So we've kind of discussed DJ and her situation quite a bit. So let's talk about Stephanie a little bit. Because Stephanie and Kimmy and Fernando, in one of the episodes, they all go out to LA to perform Stephanie's new song that went viral on YouTube, essentially, on Danny and Becky's new show. And while they're there, they get locked in the jail on the set of Fernando's favorite TV show. So Kimmy has to step up as Danny's co-host because Becky is stuck in the fake jail.
Yeah. Yeah.
Thoughts? Fernando ruins everything?
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What did you think of that Stephanie's still continuing her singing and music career now that she's no longer really a DJ? Yeah, elaborate.
I feel like they're trying to make her into like the equivalent for Uncle Jesse. I don't want that to happen with her.
But in her defense, that's what she was when she was a kid.
She was
a dancer and a singer.
She did all that. That's exactly what I was going to say.
She was the talented one. But then
it feels
changed.
appropriate to me, though.
Yeah, I gotta totally disagree with you, Jen, because I like that they're making her do that. I think it's cool to watch her go after her dream, and
I think it's better than her being a DJ.
And I think it's for sure, absolutely. I think it kind of gives her more of a purpose, more of a something concrete that she can go after. I mean, not that DJing isn't an admirable profession in gold. If that's what you want to do, go for it. But
however, I don't think she should become some international pop star like Jessie did.
I mean, she did. Her and Jimmy did make a pretty cheesy music video.
That's true.
That kind of reminded me of the Forever music video.
I had that same thought.
I mean, as long as they don't go there with it, then I think it's pretty interesting.
Yeah.
And it does not bother me because it's appropriate for her character to find something to do in that realm.
And I gotta say, I kind of thought the song was pretty catchy. I'll freely admit it was stuck in my head for a long time after I watched the episode, so I thought it was awesome.
Any other thoughts on Stephanie? Stephanie and Jimmy?
I like them together.
Yeah, they said I love you.
I do too.
Yeah.
They're kind of a solid thing.
Yeah. I like that they're making her more of a humanistic character, not a caricature.
I really like them as a couple. I'm glad that they've kind of gotten to that point of like, I love you, I want to commit to this relationship. And one of the most powerful moments for me was when they're sitting on the stairs and she has to tell him that she can't have kids, which is a conversation I've had to have myself. So it was kind of like, oh, I know exactly what she's feeling right now. I know exactly that moment because I had to have that moment. So it was like, oh, it was kind
really
of cool
struck
to
that
see.
emotion with you.
Yeah, it kind of was like, oh, okay, I know exactly where you're coming from. And I thought that was really cool because I thought it was unique because I don't really see that very often.
In TV pieces.
Yeah, so
I
thought that was really cool.
Yeah, one of the things that this show continues to do well as it follows in the footsteps of the original is balancing those more serious moments that you do have in life with the more comedic ones, like the kids getting locked in the jail and then, Stephanie having that honest conversation with Jimmy. Kimmy. Fernando's moved in. Ramona is studying to just be this wonderful dancer. She's now the talented kid, Andrew's words. And during the Christmas episode, Ramona is supposed to perform in the Nutcracker as the Rat King. And somehow, through a series of crazy events, Kimmy goes on as the Rat King, and Ramona has to go on as the Nutcracker and essentially kill her mother. Thoughts?
thought that was a weird
episode.
I thought it was weird because I feel like they're and I love the Kimmy character, but I feel like they're making her so obnoxious that I'm like, can you just stop meddling and stop trying to be like the center of attention? And that's her character. I get it. But it just, that episode, I guess I was feeling a lot for Ramona, where I'm like, come on, I would kill my mom if that were my mom.
Yeah.
And maybe that's a good thing that I had that response, though, because obviously, I was invested in some way in that episode.
I like her. Ramona doesn't bother me this season
like
she did the first, and that was because I felt she was bland, and I think I don't anymore.
Agree.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't even. I feel bad saying that about a child actor, but it's just like I couldn't put my finger on it.
I think that's where what I agree with you, because that's where what I mean when I say they've developed and they're more comfortable and they're not introducing these characters or learning these characters for the first time. They've spent some time.
Totally. Absolutely.
I agree with you. All the kids, in my opinion, were a lot less interesting, and this season that was not the case for me.
Was there anything about the kids that made them more
They were the
compelling or
focus,
engaging?
I feel like it was more about them, whereas they were just there.
They were the side story.
Yeah,
Season 1.
and it became about their stories, and the parents and the adult stories evolved around them, like Full House was.
Yeah, it felt more like the original Full House the second season, because it felt like it was more focused on the kids and their problems and the parents trying to kind of help them through it versus
the moral of the story. Helping.
The violin music at the end, and here's the lesson that we need to learn this week.
And then they all end in a group hug.
Lots of group hugs.
That's what we love about this show.
And it ends with a hug.
And they make fun. They poke fun about that, and I just love it. But I agree that I think that's what I responded to, was that there was more focus on them, but they interacted more with. They had more chemistry, I guess, this season as actors and as characters, and they actually had real stories, which I thought the kids were great. Except for Joey's kids, but all the other
well, they're not part of the main.
So
So one of my absolute favorite moments of season 2 was New Year's Eve, the final episode of the season, where Jesse and Becky are in San Francisco to pick up their daughter, and they bring her home New Year's Eve, and we find out that she is named Pamela. After Danny's late wife / Jesse's sister. I cried. I'm not gonna lie. There were tears because it was very. I mean, from the outset that they're going to adopt a baby. They kind of trace, they weave that thread through. But the fact that they brought her, it was a girl. They brought her home, and of course they picked that name. Why wouldn't they?
Yeah.
I still got choked up. But I think, oddly enough, that was my favorite moment of the whole season. It didn't even involve our main cast.
I think they ended it on a perfect note. I thought that was very sweet. And I kind of choked up a little too. Yeah, because it kind of made me, at the end of it, go, oh, okay, good. There's something. Now the next season we can see where they go with this plot line too, and see, them trying to be parents again and trying to figure this all out again, and because their kids are grown, so they're kind of starting.
Well, their kids are starting a taco truck.
Right, yeah. They're kind of starting all over again. So,
what I think is really nice too, and we touched upon this earlier in the podcast, I think, is the fact that they're addressing adoption a couple of times, which is not a contemporary issue necessarily, but it's nice that they're introducing that as not just an option, but something that's normal. They're trying to normalize that, which I think is really healthy for people who live in families that choose to have both natural born as well as adopted children or unable to have children or what have you. I also, on that note, and I know this gets away from the adoption, but they also have like mixed race families, which is again a really important representation. So I'm like all for this like family expansion.
The more nuclear family. They have the blended family with the Fullers and the Gibblers, or whatever Kimmy's last name is. All blended together and living under the same roof. It's a different kind of family.
Yeah.
But it's still a family that a lot of people experience today.
And I feel like we were talking about during the first podcast how it was very white, and I felt like as a whole it was a much more diverse show, with even the like minor characters.
Yeah, a lot of the more of the side characters they brought in, even if it was only for one episode, they were more ethnically and racially diverse, which was a breath of fresh air.
Yeah.
I just remember, I feel like that was a complaint during the podcast, and then watching it like 2 days later, because when it was aired, I was like, oh wow, they listened. They
listened to us and made those changes. So
just to
they heard our podcast.
Well, why shouldn't they listen?
Right? Does anybody have any other favorite moments or episodes of season 2 that you want to touch on that we haven't covered?
Yes, what was my favorites? Girl Talk was up there. I feel like we named all my favorite episodes though, so never mind.
Anyone else? Jen?
There was one moment, I think this was in the New Year's episode, where they kind of did a touchback to the original show, where they tied the jump rope to the 2 bedrooms, and they kind of for the New Year's episode, and Max was the one that kind of initiated it, and I was like, oh, they're kind of bringing it back, but at the same time, too, it didn't feel like it was, like, the forced, like, fan stuff for it. Yeah. I don't know if you guys have been thinking this either, but as we've been talking about this, too, I feel like, obviously, season 1 and season 2 are very different, but at the same time, like, it still feels like they're kind of, like, blending together, and it's like, oh, wait, that happened in season 1. No, it happened in season 2. Oh, wait, no, that person was introduced actually in season 2.
Yeah.
I'm feeling that too, girl.
Yeah. I think part of it for me is because we're used to the full, 22 to 25 episode season of Full House, where we're getting 13 episode arcs now on Netflix, even though they're still only half hour long. I think for me that's why they're blending together, is that everything is much shorter.
Yeah.
And as you binge them, things do start to blur together.
Yeah.
It came out relatively, I want to say relatively together, but it was in the same calendar year, wasn't it?
It was. The first season premiered in February, and the second season premiered at the beginning of December within 2016. So now we're waiting, I think, the longest we will. But before we talk about season 3, did you have any other like least favorite moments or things that you wish they really wouldn't have done? I know we kind of covered some of them, but last chance to air any grievances against the show?
Joey's kids.
Yeah, they were pretty annoying.
I was a little disappointed that DJ and Gia had that fight, because I really wanted their conflict with each other to mature a bit, and because I want Gia to be around a little bit more, and I feel like that conflict is going to prevent that, but I don't. That was my least favorite decision of the storyline. But I mean, I know why they did it. I understand it's a throwback to 20 years ago, but I felt like it was too much for me and too abrupt. That moment was too abrupt for me. So that would be one of my least favorites. And also because DJ needs to be stopping a stick in the mud and just relax a little bit. But that's her
she needs
character.
a couple glasses of wine.
She does, I
She's
know.
really selfish too.
Yeah.
I don't know, I just see her like she's all about herself. And maybe that's true just because she goes into this love triangle. It's like your husband just died in a fire.
Well, he died over a year ago.
But still. I mean, it took so long for her dad to start dating for the first time. And here she is, like, 2 boyfriends, and then didn't she go on a date with other guys too during the season when they were not together? I don't remember, but I don't know. I just feel like, she's just, I don't know.
Just kind of jumping in.
I think she just annoys me on screen and off, and maybe I am biased because of it, and I should learn to be nicer.
I understand what you mean there. Hopefully season 3 will improve her image a bit.
Is there anything else you would like to discuss about Fuller House season 2?
Keep making the show better. That's what I'm going to say.
Okay.
If season 3
I'll
is as good as or is better than season 2, like 2 to 1, then we're in a good spot.
So keep that increase of...
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Increased quality.
Yeah, for sure.
What would you like to see happen in season 3?
Kimmy become a lesbian? Or someone, I don't know, let's get some LGBT in there.
Yeah.
You know?
That's one of the areas they haven't really addressed.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, they have to find a way to address that. I agree with you. I wouldn't mind that. I also wouldn't be surprised if they did find a way to incorporate a character,
like that.
Yeah, a character or an issue or
I could see them maybe
or...
doing that through the kids and maybe like, oh, Mom, I have this friend at school who, likes girls instead of guys or whatever. And
DJ and Gia.
Andrew
called it.
Sorry.
But I'm just saying, I think I agree with you. I think that's definitely an area that they haven't touched upon yet, and I think that one way they could do that is through the kids and maybe some of their friends or something like that.
Michelle's friends. There we go.
Maybe. Yeah. There you go.
You never know.
That's true.
I'm just saying that might be a good way to bring them back.
That's true. That's true.
Well, the one...
If you're listening, producers of Fuller House via Netflix. Okay, sorry.
The one, Michelle's friend, he's living in LA doing stuff. He should easily be able to...
Yeah, there you go.
There's a
the
couple
Go
of
Dancer,
them.
the one from Little Rascals.
Oh, yeah.
Another TV show on Bravo.
Yeah, a couple of her friends have been doing some stuff lately. So
I feel like there's a BuzzFeed thing, and it was like, where are they now?
Yeah.
And the girl that was the Little Richie's niece.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
What was her name?
Denise.
Denise.
Denise, I love Denise. Yeah. What's she doing?
She was just on this like BuzzFeed thing, like where they are now, and she was. I don't think she was doing anything.
I don't think she's
maybe
acting.
like a CSI episode or something.
Yeah. She's not as involved with acting as much as her little guy friends were. But yeah.
Well, she was adorable. They should bring her back.
Anything else you want to see in season 3?
Michelle.
Not
happening.
It's not gonna.
What about?
It's not gonna. I agree. It would just. It's a dream.
Danny's wife.
Yeah.
That we've only saw in the pilot episode, and she has not returned.
No, I meant the other one.
What other one?
Vicky.
Vicky,
right?
That could be interesting.
I don't know if she will. They kind of wrapped her storyline up, or they even mentioned her later on that she went and she moved and she was a newscaster somewhere else.
Yeah.
She did a big job in Chicago, right?
I think
what
so.
It was, yeah.
Yeah, Chicago.
That could be interesting.
But he's married to, what's her name, Terry now?
Yeah.
So,
that's true.
But it would be nice to see her, because we only saw her for a brief second.
Yeah, it would be nice to develop her a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
I would kind of like to see something more happen with Jimmy and Stephanie, maybe some sort of
their relationship move forward,
engagement, marriage type thing. Yeah, and definitely
I
resolve the DJ Steve thing, because I don't think I can take much more.
Yeah,
it's
another season of it.
Yeah, it's just like, okay, we get it already. Just move. I don't know.
Because there's a lot of storylines they can do once she does pick somebody. And
right,
sticks with it.
exactly.
Like the boys getting used to a new father figure in their life. And
exactly.
There's a lot of...
Exactly.
And they also introduced that little girl, and I don't think who's the daughter.
Rosie?
Yeah. So they're not, because she's the daughter of CJ. And I don't think that particular character is gonna. I think they'll want to keep that little girl around.
Yeah.
So that means you have to keep CJ around. I don't know. I mean, that's just kind of where my mind goes.
Yeah, because I'm assuming if anything happens with Steve and CJ in a negative way, it'll happen at the end of season 3, so that way they can keep her around as long as possible.
Yeah.
Keep the tension going.
I think I would also want to see more episodes, kind of like we have seen, where it's still focused on the kids, and the kids have to deal with whatever issues that, come up. I don't mean to sound hokey, but most sitcoms, they have, the drugs and the alcohol and all that, but, type episodes, the very special Full House or whatever. At the same time, I feel like those are still things that kids today deal with, no matter, what generation or whatever you are, so... I would like to see kind of more things like that come up too. A little more of maybe some of the serious sides, some of the conflicts that the kids have to enter into. Because this is a whole new generation discovering this show and this family. So I think it would be interesting to see how they address it. Yeah, for sure.
I agree.
There should be a musical episode.
That would be
on
so
the trend that
cool.
is musical episodes again. Jen, any thoughts on what
mess.
you want to see for season 3?
Honestly, I'm not sure. I mean, I'm gonna keep saying bring Michelle back and bring her friends back, but at least in terms for stuff that's realistic, I kind of want to see the kids at least, like, I don't say, like, grow up a little bit more, but at least show them, like, where they're at, like, age-wise, I guess, because I think, are Jackson and Ramona still they're still in middle school. Are they, like, right about to get into high school? Or
I think so. They're kind of right on that edge.
Yeah, I think just seeing more stuff with them, like, transitioning into high school, and maybe, like, I was kind of thinking about this from the previous podcast for 13 Reasons Why, having some sort of, like, event at school that's, like, that happens that, like, the kids have to deal with as, like, a side effect, and, like, the parents have to try and figure out how to, like, process it and comfort the kids, too. Obviously, probably not to the extent of how they showed it in 13 Reasons Why, but maybe kind of to, like, filter that down a little bit to, like, the Fuller House audience as a gateway to, like, talk about that subject without it being, like, as graphic.
You know, I'd be interested in seeing, kind of riffing off of what you said, is to have, if they do an event like that, like something that the kids have to deal with and respond to and face for maybe the first time, whatever that is, if it can be, like, a 2 or 3-parter, like, rather than, like, break out of that idea of resolving a serious issue in less than 20 minutes. Right. So I would be interested in seeing them take some serious subject matter and play with it for a couple of episodes and see how that develops. That's not their format, I know, but if we're talking about what you want to see, I'd be interested in see how that works.
Yeah.
When does season 3 air? Do we know?
Hey!
Are we not there yet?
Segue!
We're not talking about that.
Perfect segue. Because so, for season 3, I have some little tidbits. But spoilers are being pretty much kept under wraps. I have dug as far as I could dig on the interwebs, as Kylie would say, and I could not find anything.
Oh,
there are a few things I did find. So for season 3, Netflix has increased the episode count. Woo-hoo. It will be going up to 18.
That's a lot.
Instead of the 13 that the previous seasons have had.
Nice.
However, the viewership was actually down from season 1. Season 2 had less viewers, and it could have been because we all hated season 1 so much. But filming started in March of this year, which is 2017, and it will go through this August. So we still have about 2-ish months of filming left of the time of this recording. Adam Hagenbush, who plays Jimmy, has been promoted to a series regular for season 3, so he and Stephanie's relationship will continue to grow. And there's a theme for season 3, summer fun, and so it's only going to focus on the summer months, because we kind of ended at New Year's Eve, so we're going to pick up again in the summer and just focus on, like, June, July, August, maybe a little September. And apparently, right before filming started, Jodie Sweetin, who plays Stephanie, suffered a severe leg injury. It's because in January of this year, 2017, Jodie Sweetin broke her ankle and her tibia in multiple places while trying to jump over a fence to retrieve one of her daughter's toys.
Oh.
So that's what happened. Either way,
well, there's a mom commitment for you. My goodness.
So it's being written into the show somehow.
She will jump
as to why
over.
she's on crutches for most of, or at least the first half of filming. Bob Saget, John Stamos, Dave Coulier, and Larry Loughlin are all going to continue to make guest appearances throughout the season. So hopefully we'll be seeing some more baby Pamela. I'd be very concerned if they leave an infant and don't address it.
Yeah, I was thinking that too.
So one of my absolute favorite things in the realm of Full and Fuller House is the fact that earlier this year, or at least within the past 12 months, the creator of Full House, Jeff Franklin, our beloved Jeff Franklin, he actually purchased the real Full House in San Francisco. The one that was used for the exterior shots in both the original series, and then they also did some new shots of the neighborhood for the revival. So he bought it as soon as it went back on the market. He snatched it right up. And he restored the exterior to match the original Full House house. So he repainted it white. It has the iconic red door. The previous owners were so tired of fans coming up to the house and taking pictures, they painted the house green, like they totally tried to camouflage it. They put a gate over the steps leading up to the front porch, had all these no trespassing signs. So Jeff Franklin was like, not on my watch, I'm buying this house the next time it goes on the market. Maybe he even made an offer when it wasn't on the market, I'm not sure. And he restored it, and he loves having fans that are so passionate about the show take pictures with the house.
So are you saying we get to go on a road trip?
Maybe. However, Mr. Franklin is also renovating house.
Oh my god.
So, rumor has it he may be renovating it so it matches very closely the interior layout that they had for the series. Rumor is that they may be filming on location at the house for season 3, because rumor it was supposed to be done by the time filming was needed for those shots. So maybe they'll be filming in the backyard. We don't know, but that is a possibility. More information to come. But hopefully, now that he owns the house, he owns the image rights of the house, maybe we'll at least get some new opening credits for season 3, because the ones are looking a little tired already.
Yeah.
It's only 2 seasons in.
Well,
They're
even
looking a
between the
little
first
dated.
and second season, the kids
They grew.
changed and grew.
Yeah.
And
That's one thing when you
yeah.
have child actors, you got to keep updating those credit scenes.
Yeah. Yep.
Quote from Jeff Franklin, according to The Hollywood Reporter, during an interview which he gave earlier this year. "We would like to take advantage of the fact that I now own the house, and we could go up there and shoot some new footage and maybe bring the cast up and shoot with them there." So it sounds like that's probably
Very
happening,
cool.
if not already happened.
Oh, that
And
makes me very excited.
this year is the 30th anniversary of Full House.
Wow.
And so rumor has it that the 3rd season of Fuller House may be released on Netflix on September 22nd, 2017, which would be the 30th anniversary. So that's unfortunately all the spoilers I could dig up for you guys.
Those are good spoilers.
I'm looking forward to it.
That's what I got. So if I find anything else, I'll be sure to shoot them your way. So with that being said, would you recommend this show to others still? Why or why not?
To fans of Full House, yes. And to those that put season 1 on of Fuller House and said I hated
turned
it
it
and
off.
turned it off, I'd say put on season 2. You may change your mind, you may not. But it's definitely bearable and I enjoyed it.
I definitely would recommend it. I would say it's much, much better than the first season. And it made me laugh a lot more, especially with them focusing on the kids. It felt like Full House, but it also felt new and different because the kids dealt with different situations and, it's a new dynamic too. And I liked that combination. So I think even if you were put off by season 1, which I think we can all agree we all kind of were in some aspect.
I wasn't.
I would say for sure check it out. Even if you don't really know, even if you're not really sure, just check it out. You might be surprised.
Absolutely. People should watch. Everyone loves a good sitcom. It's just it's fun and it's something you can get invested in without you can sit and watch and binge on it and have a few good laughs and see something that kind of lets you escape like the more serious crap that's going on in television, the media, and all of that. Or you could have it on just in the background and just hear the punchline jokes once in a while. I just think it's enjoyable, and I think fans should keep watching it, the new ones and the old ones. So
I see it's one of the 3 Netflix shows that you can watch in just a couple sittings. You can literally binge it in one sitting.
Yeah.
Because it is short and it's not so heavy-handed and it is escapism and just different from real life, that it's nice, there are times when I would just I'm not ready for bed, so I'll put on a random Full House episode or another show. But for that, because it's 12:30 and I just want brain frying TV before I go to bed.
yeah, I'm the same way.
I mean, everyone's kind of said what I've been thinking too. Full House fan, definitely keep watching it. Maybe on the fence from Fuller House for season 1. At least try and give this one another chance. I think what's interesting too for this is that it's hard to find those kind of shows like Fuller House that are on there right now, especially for the sitcoms. Because normally for sitcoms now, especially if they still air on regular primetime TV, you have to wait a week. Or for Fuller House, you don't need to. But at the same time, if you miss an episode, you're not entirely missing everything that could have happened in that show, and you're going to be completely lost, which I really like. Because I know that there's some TV shows for Lost or Heroes where it's you miss an episode, you're completely lost with what's happening for the current episode. But for Fuller House, it's not quite like that. Even though obviously now it's on Netflix, you won't run into that. I think it's kind of nice having a TV show still like that out there.
Again, I would also recommend it for the same reasons you guys said, and I will say to these people, if they did kind of jump off during season 1, I'll say the same thing that I said for Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., just push through it. It's painful, but it gets better. You just you have to kind of roll with it, but it does improve for season 2, and it is worth a watch if you loved the original. I think I know the answer to this question, but are you going to keep watching?
Oh, yes.
Yeah, yes. Okay,
Yes.
resounding yes
Absolutely.
from all of us Tanner fans.
They'd have to really jump the shark.
Yeah.
And say no.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah,
Something
for
bad.
sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, great. Thank you guys so much for joining me on the Tanner Couch today. So again, thank you to Amie, Andrew, Leslie, and Jen for joining me to talk season 2 of Fuller House. And this panel will reconvene after season 3 of Fuller House premieres on Netflix, which will be sometime later this year. Rumor has it maybe in September.
Yay.
CPU was produced by Back Pocket Productions, run by yours truly, Chief Couch Potato, and hails from Grand Rapids, Michigan. Please, if you like what you hear, take the time to rate us on iTunes, Stitcher Radio, or Google Play. That means assign us some stars, maybe a comment or review, so that we can spread the word and tell people about our cool little podcast. At least we hope it's cool. Please tell us. If you have suggestions or shows we might consider, contact us at our website, couchpotatousunite.wordpress.com, via email at couchpotatoesunitepodcast@gmail.com, or via Facebook and Twitter, though we add new and old shows to chat about around the water cooler all the time. As always, we have so many more new episodes coming down the pike. Make sure you subscribe to the blog, those channels, our social media accounts, and stay up on new events and episodes. You can find old CPU episodes by searching the web or directly on our website in that picture of the TV watcher. As Kristen said, Fuller House is currently available to stream on Netflix only, and Netflix should give us a subscription for how many times we say their name. We will return to this series to discuss it after the 3rd season comes out until our next podcast episode. New episodes are published weekly. Keep listening, keep watching, stay tuned. Bye-bye.